Botox Cosmetic, out of botulinum toxin A, FDA approved for over 20 years. So, talk to your specialist to see if Botox Cosmetic is right for you.
For full prescribing information, including boxed warning, visit BotoxCosmetic.com or call 877-351-0300.
Remember to ask for Botox Cosmetic by name. To see for yourself and learn more, visit BotoxCosmetic.com. That's BotoxCosmetic.com.
Okay, I have to tell you, I was just looking on eBay where I go for all kinds of things I love, and there it was.
That hologram trading card. One of the rarest, the last one I needed for my set. Shiny like the
designer handbag of my dreams. One of a kind. eBay had it, and now everyone's asking, ooh, where'd you get your
windshield wipers? eBay has all the parts that fit my car. No more annoying, just beautiful.
Whatever you love, find it on eBay. eBay. Things people love.
This is the sound of your ride home with Dad after he caught you vaping. Awkward, isn't it? Most vapes contain seriously addictive levels of nicotine and disappointment. Know the real cost of vapes. Brought to you by the FDA.
Hey everyone, welcome to this edition of Keep Watch Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. When you talk about fantastic actresses, you have to put Sigourney Weaver into the mix. And even though some of the films on her filmography may not be as familiar to you, there are some which are part of instant genre recognition. And here to recognize those genres with me, Carson Elcone's back on the show. Carson, how you doing, man?
We're not just recognizing them. We're repping them.
Oh, absolutely.
This is our queen, Sigourney Weaver, we're talking about. She can do no wrong in my eyes besides my pass. That's what I'll say.
Well, it's going to be very, very interesting to figure out which of those pass films are. And for the record, when we pass on a film, it's not necessarily because we're saying that the actor or actress in question did a bad job in the film. It's just that maybe the film, for whatever reason, did not sit well with us or it just didn't inspire us. But here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the filmography, Sigourney Weaver, and pick 3 films each, a keep, a watch, and a pass. The keep is one that, much like Sigourney Weaver, is absolutely awesome. Watch it anytime. The watch is one that, whether it's because of her presence or not, it's still a pretty darn good film and we would watch it. And the pass is one, as mentioned before, we're not saying we're passing on Sigourney Weaver in the film. We're just passing on the film in general. And Carson, we're going to start with you. Your keep Sigourney Weaver film.
All right. I got to preface my keep, watch, and pass here as I'm not going to lie to you guys out there. It's a little basic. I'm a little bit of a basic bitch, Carson, right now. And that's okay for me. Because my keep is not only, in my opinion, her best film of her career, but one of my favorite films ever created. And I guarantee you, as I say this, Jason knows exactly what I'm talking about. And that's 1979's Alien.
When you talk about the queen, we're not talking about the xenomorph, right?
No, that's Aliens. That's why I specify our queen is Sigourney.
Is it weird? And I was actually having this conversation before we started recording. Is the Alien franchise is not necessarily in my wheelhouse. If I had to pick an Alien film, it would be Aliens. But I'm not the biggest Alien fan.
No, and I feel like that's okay too, because as much as a cult classic it is, I don't know a whole lot of people, at least nowadays from my perspective, that are really closely knit with, as you said, the Alien franchise. And that's okay. I mean, it's not for everyone, but especially with the release of Romulus this year, which I'm not going to lie, I've seen 4 times this year. I saw it twice in theaters. I'm gonna be a bad guy here, and I illegally streamed it with my girlfriend on 1-2-3 Movies, and then it came out literally a couple days ago on Disney Plus, and I rewatched it yesterday with a buddy who's never seen it. So I've seen Alien Romulus 4 times. It's incredible. Film of the year so far for me. Go see it. Anyway, long story short, it's not for everyone, but I'm a huge sucker for raw physical and emotion in movies. And when I say raw, I don't just mean the performances. I mean the set. A fully practical set built from the ground up, prosthetics, the xenomorph itself. It's all what makes a movie for me. And when I can tell that something is real and there's an actor staring it in the face or really being surrounded by it, I'm instantly more intrigued in that universe, because I feel that in a lot of ways you could thrust yourself in there and still have the feeling of the movie just sitting on the set, for instance. You don't get that on a blue or green screen.
No, absolutely. I mean, really, though, you think about those first 2 films in the Alien franchise. What a 1-2 punch to go from Ridley Scott directing the first one to freaking Jim Cameron directing the second one. Like, you can't even say one is an upgrade from the other, because it's Ridley Scott and James Cameron. Like, how much of a 1-2 punch? That is like the ultimate goaltending 1-1A situation right there.
It's literally, I don't like, if you could come out here and say, okay, give me a better director duo for a franchise, is there really a better one that you could think of right now?
Not really. I mean, one could make an argument that you take a look at the Star Wars franchise. Obviously, Irvin Kershner is going to be in the mix because of Empire Strikes Back. I mean, you could sit there and say George Lucas, but I would turn around and say, aha, but what about Gareth Edwards in Rogue One?
Okay, I'm so glad you mentioned that, because I feel like with all, and this is a bit of a side tangent, with all the that Disney has kind of not put out, just like the has gotten for what they put out recently, Rogue One, in my opinion, is still the best Disney Star Wars movie. I don't know if you feel the same way, but man, every time I rewatch Rogue One, I'm just like, I'm in it, and I love it, and I love the feeling. I love how we got an extension on the original trilogy plus the prequel trilogy. It's great. And I just, like, next to Alien with Ridley Scott and James Cameron, like, there's not really many other better duos. I mean, it's so hard to really represent too, because it's like, how often do we get really incredible directors doing a 1-2 punch like we did with Alien and Aliens?
You know what? I have that answer. I have that answer going from one film to the next, and where the director change went from awesome to awesome. And that's the Blade Runner franchise. You went from Ridley Scott doing the original to Denis Villeneuve doing Blade Runner 2049. That may be the only comparison, and you're still launching from Ridley Scott in that. You mentioned Rogue One, though. It's not a stretch to say that it's the best Disney Star Wars film. But I would go so far as to say it's the best Star Wars film, period.
Really?
Yep.
Wow. I feel like I can't even go into that right now, or else you and I will get on a 45-minute side tangent. But not only do I respect it, I'm just floored coming from you. Not that I expected you to come out here and say that The Force Awakens was, but like, still, like, damn.
I mean, it's better than The Rise of Skywalker. No, but seriously, it's one of those things where you could give me Empire Strikes Back or Rogue One on any day, and I would be served a happy dose of Star Wars.
And you'll consume it.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
And I love that you brought up Blade Runner as well, because do you know the big theory about Alien and Blade Runner?
I am very curious to hear your theory.
That they take place in the same universe. That Blade Runner takes place on a planet that is within the Weyland-Yutani Reach. And that based on stuff you see, and this isn't, I've only heard this from a few people and read about it briefly, so I don't know all the little details you see in Blade Runner that connect it back. But from what I've been told, in one of the scenes of Blade Runner, and I haven't seen it in probably about 5-6 years, where they're in the big computer room, you see one of the computers that flick on, and it comes up with Mother 9000 from Alien. Because being Ridley Scott based, I mean, you got to have little connections, I suppose.
See, I'm going to argue that one, because I don't know if I would say that Aliens is in the same world as Blade Runner. But if you're looking for a film that would arguably connect to that world without being a direct sequel to Blade Runner or even a prequel to Blade Runner 2049 is Soldier, released in 1998 and starring Kurt Russell and directed by Paul Anderson, written by David Webb Peoples. This film may as well be what happened to the Replicants, or at least maybe a prequel to Blade Runner, because we know that the Replicants were kind of discarded, and which is why you had Blade Runners hunting them down. If you have not seen Soldier yet, starring Kurt Russell, it is a very, very unheralded film. And this is literally, I have a list of films that when it comes to It's Not That Bad, I am ready to sharpen my pitchfork because I will defend it to the ends of the earth. Soldier is one of them because it sits at a 17% tomatometer.
And what I was going to say is, I'm not going to lie to your listeners, but if Jason's out here telling you that there's a movie you should see, I'm not going to tell you what to do, but you should go and see the movie because it's from a pretty damn reliable source.
You say that, but I know what movies you're watching for Grading on a Curve. So, and I told you to watch those films and you still watch them.
Let me preface, if for some reason you get an email from him with a list of movies for a show episode, then you could probably tell him to off.
Which you have done on many occasions.
I was going to say, which I'm pretty sure I've done twice, just to preface.
And you will probably do it at the beginning of every Grading on a Curve, and I would probably deserve it.
No, yeah. It's, you know what? Hey, we love you. We love and appreciate you. You're your encyclopedia for this medium.
I do try.
Streaming December 12th on Peacock. Paris Hilton and Nicole Richie are back.
That's hot. Loves it.
For a show-stopping reunion that will prove putting on an opera is anything but simple.
We're really good at this.
One thing's for sure, they won't be upstaged.
Good to have you back. Come on, we've got a show to do.
Paris and Nicole, The Encore, a 3-part reunion special, streaming December 12th, only on Peacock.
This episode is brought to you by Amazon. The holidays are here, and you know what that means. It's time to get your friends and family the gifts they deserve. Take the stress out of shopping with Amazon's great deals and low prices on a huge range of items from toys to tech and much more. Whoever you're gifting for, Amazon has great prices on everything you need this holiday season. Shop Amazon for all your gifting needs.
I'm James McComb, reporting live from home in my bathrobe and slippers. Tonight, we're talking Dunkin' Polar Peppermint Coffee. Gene's here with the latest. Gene, do you copy?
The home with Dunkin' is where you want to be.
We talked about the best Star Wars film. Well, my keep is arguably the best Star Trek film. I'm talking about Galaxy Quest.
I knew it. I knew that would be on your list because I can't remember what episode we did previously, but I remember you bringing it up. When I was looking through the filmography, I was like, if that's not on there, I'll eat my left shoe.
Well, you can have two shoes going forward. Galaxy Quest is my keep. I mean, let's be honest. It's not Sigourney Weaver's film, but much like Star Trek as a whole, Galaxy Quest is more about the side characters. The captain isn't necessarily the most interesting person. You think about Star Trek. Yes. Next Generation, Picard is a good captain. I will give you that. But a lot of the stories, the best stories, focused on side characters. And when you have a good surrounding cast, you're going to have a good movie. Galaxy Quest brings together Sam Rockwell, Sigourney Weaver, freaking Alan Rickman. When Alan Rickman is in your cast, you can do no wrong. And even characters like Tony Shalhoub in this, and some of the side characters. Missy Pyle is one of the aliens. This film is chock-a-block full of fantastic actors, and it's funny as hell, especially if you grew up watching Star Trek. Like, I think that's the thing. If you didn't grow up watching Star Trek, you're not going to enjoy Galaxy Quest. But if you grew up watching Star Trek, you realize that they're not making fun of Trek. they're making fun with Trek. And that goes a long, long way. The fact that Trekkers and Trekkies alike, I don't care which one you call yourself, it's all Trek and it's all good. They accept and appreciate this film. I remember watching a documentary on Galaxy Quest. And I think it was Brent Spiner who said that Galaxy Quest was the best Star Trek film of all time. Freaking Data agrees that Galaxy Quest is the best Star Trek film of all time, and he's probably not wrong.
Can I admit something to you?
You may.
And just pure love is that I've never seen Galaxy Quest.
Oh dear boy. No.
I know, and the worst part is I know how much you've talked about it, and I just pumped your tires saying that if he gives you something, you should damn well watch it. And I have yet to see Galaxy Quest.
I mean, here's the thing. Let me ask you though. Were you a Star Trek kid growing up?
I was a Star Wars kid growing up, 110%, but I never had issues with Star Trek. So I remember seeing the because obviously I'm a younger fellow, so I have seen the Chris Pine reboot saga, is what I'm going to call it. Is it technically a reboot or is it a continuation? I think it's a reboot.
It is a parallel universe version.
All right, okay, I see you, but my God, reboot is enough for me. No, but honestly though, I haven't, like, the Into Darkness kind of trilogy. Is it a trilogy?
It is actually a trilogy. I mean, there was talk that Tarantino was planning on doing a Star Trek film, and I don't know how that would go. And I don't think I want to see that. But you go back and watch like the Kirk era movies, and you will appreciate Galaxy Quest a lot more, especially if you've been to any kind of Comic-Con. Then you can sit there and at least identify with the opening and closing scenes of the film. For my watch film, I'm going to go under the radar for this one. And I would be surprised if you have seen this film. I'm going to go with a movie called Be Kind, Rewind. This is a film, and I can't believe I'm saying this, that stars Jack Black and Mos Def. So Mos Def works in this small little VHS video rental place. And God, how I miss VHS rental places. But I digress here.
I just miss rental places.
And Jack Black plays this conspiracy theorist who accidentally, because he's magnetized himself, goes into the store and erases all of the tapes in the store because he's magnetized. And anyone who's put a magnet near a VHS and lost one of their favorite movies knows that that's how you erase a VHS tape. So rather than tell the owner of the store that they ruined all of their merchandise, they decide to reshoot every film that was for rent, but they do it in such a cheap B movie one-shot kind of deal, more often than not having filmed the movie without knowing what's actually in the movie because they've never actually watched it themselves, just reading what's on the back of the box. And then for some reason, they when people bring the back tape, it's like, this isn't the movie I thought it was. And they're like, well, it's from Sweden. It's Swedish. And then these films become a hit and people are looking for the Swedish versions of these films. And there's a sweet, big heart at the center of this film. And I think it leans more towards people who A, like B-rated movies, B, like a quirky comedy, but C, are just fascinated with the idea of filmmaking. And anyone who's ever picked up a camera, there's something just genuinely real about the idea of getting a bunch of friends together and acting out scenes on camera, even if it goes nowhere. And there's something fun about that.
I was looking this up as you're explaining some of it. I don't know how I haven't heard of this movie, but I am absolutely watching this in the next few weeks because this looks like an absolute wonderful time.
Yeah, no.
And like, I don't know why I haven't even heard it. Like, until you literally said it, I haven't even heard of it. So this is incredible for me.
Like, I'm not the biggest Jack Black fan because I have a feeling that Jack Black.
You're telling me you're not going to see the Minecraft movie when it comes out?
Oh, I mean, I'm going to see it, but not by choice. I have kids.
Can I join along with your family to go see the Minecraft movie?
Am I bringing you to the Minecraft film there, Carson?
Hey, I got scene points. I can get us in for free.
Done. There we go. But the thing is, this is like early Jack Black career. So, and this is actually Mos Def I didn't mind in The Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. I have casting issues with that film, but I didn't mind Mos Def as Ford Prefect, even though he's not #not my Ford Prefect, because I remember the original BBC series. And this is around that time that Mos Def was getting quite a few acting gigs. But Be Kind, Rewind kind of played into the best of what the two of them were putting out at the time.
Were you kind back when VHSs were for rent? Did you rewind?
I always rewound. And I am a long proponent of 7 movies for 7 days. Blockbuster, I miss you.
No, okay. I'm so glad you brought this up, because as the girlfriend and I have been watching different just like 80s, 90s movies, and the South Park Halloween special in which Randy buys a Blockbuster. I miss it. I know this is a little bit of a side tangent, but I so badly miss going to a video rental store. I remember on Fridays after school, my mother would be working later, so my dad would pick us up. We'd go to the Blockbuster. Right next to the Blockbuster was a pizza place. We'd get pizza. We'd go home, eat and watch a movie together. Then my mom would come home and we'd watch a second movie once she was back. And this is what streaming is taking away from us. I don't get the event anymore.
But there's the thing, right? And I know I'm guilty of this myself, and you know, my lovely wife Carrie will fully agree if she were on the show, is that when you were at the video store, you had to make a pick. You know, you had to fill out that 7 movies for 7 days. You couldn't just pick 6 and then, you know, tack one on the next time you were in. No, you had to pick the 7 movies and you had to watch them. Otherwise you wasted your money. But the thing with streaming, and I fully admit I do this, and I know there's other people out there who do it. I'll spend a half an hour skimming through what's available and watching the trailers and not watching a damn film because I can't decide, because they're all there and I don't have to choose.
No, it's so true, especially considering how many, like, obviously, for instance, when you're a kid, you go into a video rental store and you're like, that's a cool cover. You're not going to read the back of it when you're 10, 11 years old. You don't give a you just want the cover to look cool, and maybe there's some people you know. And that's the dream. But nowadays, you go through Netflix, for instance, you hit a movie, you watch the 30-second snippet that it shows you when you're just idling on the poster card. Then you're like, okay, that looks fine. You go to the next one. Okay, that's fine too. And then 2 hours goes by, and you realize you just watched 2 hours of, that looks fine.
Yeah. I have no problem hitting the I feel lucky button kind of thing and let it pick for myself. And sometimes you kind of have to do that. You have to sit there and say, I'm not in a decision-making mood right now. You decide for me.
But how much better would that experience be if it was a 17-year-old stoner at a Blockbuster handing you a movie?
Well, you know what's funny? Every now and then I'll go into like a bookstore, and they have these, what they call blind dates for books kind of thing. And they'll wrap up a book in completely no color brown paper.
Yeah, I have seen this.
And they'll write a very, very brief description, like 1 sentence or one little phrase kind of thing, that you have an idea of what you're getting. So at least you know, like, I like science fiction films. I know this is a science fiction book, but I don't know what's in it, right? I would love for some video rental store to come up and literally have no covers, no box art, no nothing. You don't know what you know what genre you're getting. And maybe you put like the critic score on it or whatever the rating is. And you that's all you know. That's all you know. I would love that. I would blind bag a movie for this podcast any day.
Do you think that we're alone in thinking that going to a video rental store is still the play?
The problem is that physical media falling by the wayside has put to bed the idea of a video rental store.
Are you still a physical media guy?
If the opportunity arrives, but I will admit that I spend more money on streaming than I do on physical media. And that's a shame, because I used to be that guy who would bargain bin the crap out of movies because I wanted to have all the movies. I still have every single DVD I bought, even if I got rid of the case, because I have one of those big CD books and you just put the movies in there. So I still have all my physical media that I've bought, but it's been a while since I've bought physical DVDs or Blu-rays. But that being said, I also prefer reading a physical book over reading an ebook.
Thank you. No, and it's tough because I'm a very similar way, where I remember I bought, this is how late I am to this punch, is I bought my DVD book in 2022 to get all my DVDs in order, all my Blu-rays, 4Ks, and that's what really started kicking it off for me, because I never really used to be. And once I got into film in 2020 and so on, I was like, heck it, I'm going and doing the whole physical media train, because that's what I love. I love holding it in my hand. I love having it. I don't need to worry about a streaming service yanking it off. I don't need none of it. And as someone that's definitely, I feel like, on the younger side and knows no one else around my age or younger that collects physical media, people are always floored when they're like, oh, I'd love to watch this movie. And I'm sitting here like, well, guess what? I have it on Blu-ray. And they're like, you still have Blu-rays? And I'm like, damn right I do. And it's like, it's just sad, because I love going to, there's a few movie stores still, like just direct movie stores in Guelph near where I live. And it's like the best time of year when I can go in, and I know they have their Black Friday or whatever deals going on, and I'll get like 6 new releases for the price of 3. And that's like my favorite time of the year to add to my little collection. And obviously you get like the Amazon days you can add sporadically, but I feel like the lack of physical media nowadays has just also contributed to how, quickly we want things as a society,
Yeah. I mean, there are still video places out there like Bay Street Video in Toronto. They do a podcast too. So that if you're into movie podcasts, the Bay Street Video store actually has a podcast. When we did the episode on Legend on this show, I actually had the owner of Movies and Stuff out of Ottawa come on the show to talk not just about Legend, which is a fantastic film, but about the store and the state of physical media and the how we miss video stores. So, I mean, look it up in your city, wherever you are. See if there is a video store, or look for big garage sales or like big swap meets or whatever, because they're out there. And if you like movies and you like physical media, like the best thing about the Friday the 13th franchise is the director's commentary on Freddy vs. Jason's DVD, because Robert Englund is having the best time, but we have completely diatribed here. So I'm going to get back to you.
I was say we went on a whole tangent. No, I love it though. If you got a problem with us ranting and enjoying physical media, I mean, I feel like if you're listening to this show, you're already a proponent of physical media to an extent.
Right.
But no, you gotta, hey, it's just someone you come on the show, you gotta accept.
Just know that we're going to geek out. It's going to happen. But, we're how many years into this podcast now? So people have, know what you signed up for. So Carson, back to you. Movie starring Sigourney Weaver, your watch pick.
All right. I'm going to paint a picture for you. The year is 1995, which, just to preface, I was not alive for. You're in 8th grade, 7th or 8th grade. It's September, you're back to school, you're in English class, and your teacher throws you a book. And what is that book, you may ask? Mother Holes. And that is my pick for my keep film. Or my watch film, excuse me, because Holes is great. We got golden era Shia LaBeouf before he went a little nuts, I'm not going to lie. We have, it's just, I feel like as someone that grew up in that era and as that book was still being given out into the late 2000s, it's just great. It's fun. It's almost a whimsical tale without being one, where obviously Shia LaBeouf playing Stanley and, kind of expressing himself through the differences of him understanding this mysterious aspect to why they're in this, I'm going to call it a juvenile prison, and they're just digging when no one else really questions it. But you know what? He knows there's more, and he's going to find that aptitude. And we got to bring in my queen, Sigourney Weaver, because this is what this episode's about, as Warden Walker. And my God, is this a criminally underrated role of hers? Because she is so entertaining. And I feel like in most movies, where like most prison or jail movies, like The Shawshank Redemption or whatever else you want to really base it on, she's so captivating in this movie. Even as not a child, but younger, when I remember watching these movies and being like, man, every time she's on screen, like I don't even hate her as a warden because she's that good. And that's what she brings to this movie. And it's just such an underrated movie. I don't think it's talked about much anymore. And I don't quite know why, because it's a stacked cast too. Like we got Shia, you got Sigourney, you got Brian Cotton, you got John Voight, you got Henry Winkler. Like there's so many good people in this movie that really helped make it, that it's just, I don't know. Like it's such a fun time. And Jason, if your family hasn't watched this, then they should, because it's a hell of an hour and a half. It's whimsical, it's fun, it's mysterious, and it just really shows you a golden era of not only, I'll say, teen novelization, but that experience in film.
I mean, I will admit that I have not watched this film, and I'm now intrigued. But of all the names you mentioned, I'm going to mention 3 others here. Tim Blake Nelson is in this, and Marvel fans, we're talking about the leader. You, of all people, Carson, Sports Knowledge Supreme, did not mention 3-time NBA champion Rick Fox is in this film. But, as Madame Zeroni, we have Eartha Kitt, one of the original Catwomen from the Adam West Batman TV series. I'm so intrigued now with this film that I need to go find a copy and watch it.
No, you have to. And especially for a budget of just 17 million back in 2003, like it's so fun. And it's not even one of the straight to TV Disney movies either. It's got that, I can't even explain it, that late 90s Disney feel, without it being like a straight to TV kind of vibe, where it's got a real substance to it beyond just being a teen young adult movie. You know what I mean?
I'm in for it, and I will find a way to watch it.
Did you ever hear the book though? Like, you knew about this movie before I explained it?
I did
not. Completely new.
I mean, I think I remember seeing the DVD cover and just passing over it because I saw John Voight. That's pretty much what it boiled down to.
Yeah, that's fair. And honestly, I'm not going to lie. I don't remember a lot of John Voight in this movie. But you know what? It's still worth a watch.
I mean, I watched Anaconda. So, I've paid my dues.
Oh, God, you poor soul.
All right. So now we get to your pass film of movies starring Sigourney Weaver.
Man, I feel bad about this because it's still a little basic given what I picked for my first movie. But my pass for Sigourney Weaver, and quite honestly, none of it is really because of her, but that's Alien Resurrection. I don't know if you've seen the 4th Alien film, but it's not only does it not feel like an Alien film, but it's a tough watch. It's CGI'd to hell, which David Fincher already had problems with in Alien 3, even though there's a lot of studio overreach in that. But it just doesn't. Alien and Aliens are so incredible because you feel immersed in a universe that could exist in your plane in the future. But Alien 3, and specifically Alien Resurrection, is such a mess of a movie specifically just to bring Sigourney Weaver back that it really doesn't know what it is. Is it a heist film from the group that, boards this Weyland-Yutani space station steal valuable equipment and information? Or is it a story about Sigourney Weaver being brought back as a clone to connect with xenomorphs? Plus, if you've seen the end of this movie and this movie in general, and you see that creepy ass looking baby xenomorph of hers, that's just, I don't know, but at the end of the day, just get blown out a airlock or a hole in the ship like every other Alien movie after the first one. It's got a decent backing of actors, which is what kind of like impresses me. Like, it's Sigourney Weaver, Winona Ryder, Ron Perlman. Like, there's such a good group here of kind of main people, but it's just a brutally written movie, and I've really tried to go back and appreciate what Jean-Pierre Jeunet did, and I can't, because it's a tough watch.
I mean, I remember trying to watch this film, and the funny thing is, of all the actors that you had mentioned, the reason why I wanted to watch this was because of Michael Wincott, because he, of course, was top dollar in the first Crow film, and I thought he was one of the best baddies that you could come up with in the 90s. This could have been the passing of the torch film from Sigourney Weaver to Winona Ryder if you wanted to carry on the Alien franchise, but it just wasn't. And I tried. I remember trying, and not for lack of Sigourney Weaver being awesome, but you're right. Like, and as I mentioned before, the Alien franchise, not necessarily, I don't want to say it's not my cup of tea, because I'll watch anything, but it doesn't strike with me for some reason or another, except for Aliens.
No, and it makes so much sense, because this and the third one aren't inherently alien movies to me. They're sci-fi movies with the xenomorph thrown into it. Like, Alien 3 and Alien Resurrection is pretty much Alien v or Predator v Alien, whatever the it is. I can't remember the actual title. But it's on the level of that for me, where like it's so hard to take it seriously, because whenever you put blank v blank, you're instantly, in my mind, like, oh dear God.
It's Alien adjacent at that point.
Yeah, that's a way better way of putting it. It's adjacent, but it's not remotely fleshed out, and that's just what it struggles with. And I honestly don't know why they're trying to clone Ripley. I don't know why they're trying to create a new xenomorph besides the basic, oh, it's a government weapon, which the government, they're gonna do stuff to it, they're gonna use it, so we gotta do it. and truthfully, that's the, like, I don't know, man. Like, it's why I just don't relate to this one at all.
That sounds like the drunkest conspiracy theorist ever.
No, it's a tough look for the brand, but my God, anyone that has seen this movie will understand.
Oh man, I need that character now created. It's like some weird drunken Canadian conspiracy theorist that needs to happen. All right, I'm probably going to break the internet on this one here, but I need to explain myself.
Is it Finding Dory?
No. Because I feel bad, because earlier in this episode, I sung the praises of one Mr. James Cameron. So when I say that Avatar is my pass, just know that I have tried to watch this film. I've tried on multiple occasions to watch this film, and without fail, this film has put me to sleep. I don't know what it is. And I fully appreciate that the film looks great. It looks fantastic. I understand it was the film that really revolutionized what you can do with 3D in the cinema, but God damn if I wasn't sleepy every single... I don't know what it is. Every time. And I have teased my lovely wife, Carrie, about this. I have teased her about falling asleep 5 minutes after the opening credits and then waking up at the end credits. That's Avatar for me. And I don't know what I'm missing, because I can never stay awake for the damn film.
And funny enough, I was contemplating putting this as my pass as well. And as you said, it's not for a lack of this. Obviously, we know that this is an incredible movie that millions of people adore. But I agree with you in a lot of sense, where maybe it's just because I'm not like my personality doesn't necessarily fit what the universe and world building is trying to be. But I very much always start watching this movie and I'm continually like, yeah, let's get to the next part and the next part. No, this is a great part. I'm glad we got here. And then I'll wait for the next one. But I know as I'm watching it, it's not objectively a bad movie by any means. There's there's no number or statistic on the planet that will confirm it being a bad movie. I just feel like as I watch it, I'm missing something that maybe other people connect to more than myself. And I don't know if that's how you personally feel, but I'm very much in a similar boat where I'm just like, it's a good movie, but like I don't put as much stock into it as maybe the guy next to me.
Yeah. A movie can still be a work of cinematic greatness and still fall flat with some viewers. And you can say that about pretty much almost any film that has been nominated for Best Picture at the Oscars. Every time the Best Picture nominations come out, I'm like, I don't know it. I have zero desire to watch this film. I tried. I don't understand why people love this film so much. Like, I know there are people out there that are like, Avatar is the greatest film of all time. All you have to do is watch it. And I've tried. I have tried on multiple occasions, and it's just not hooking me. Nothing against James Cameron, nothing against Sigourney Weaver, nothing against Sam Worthington, nothing against all the people who put in a ton of work and made a film that helped really, really make a mark on the global box office. Credit where credit's due. James Cameron made a film that people wanted to go see, and I tried. I gave it the college try, and I got the college fail.
And I think that's okay. And at the end of the day, movies are subjective, and that's what's incredible about them is you have all these opinions and takes, and that what makes storytelling incredible. But I don't disagree with you. And in my mind, I feel like I maybe like in terms of the status norm, I should disagree with you. But I agree where I'm like, I think the premise is interesting. I think it's compelling, but there's nothing inherently substance-wise that makes me be like just for concept here, I haven't seen the second one yet.
No.
It came out, 2 years ago?
Yeah, I have zero desire to watch it.
No, and that's me too, where I'm like, I watched the first one. I think I watched it when it came out on Blu-ray in 2010 after the 2009 release. And I don't know if I've watched it. No, that's a lie. I have watched it once, and that was in 2017, 18, one of the two. But even then, I was like, I don't know. Like, it's just not for us, I guess. And I think that's okay.
Yeah, absolutely. Not every film is for everybody. Carson, thank you so much for this. Now, please remind our listeners what your keep, watch, and past picks are from films starring Sigourney Weaver.
I mean, it's always a pleasure. But my keep was Alien 1979. My watch was Holes from 2003. And my pass was Alien Resurrection, which, because it's so forgettable, I couldn't even tell you a year it's from right now.
All right. My keep is Galaxy Quest. My watch is Be Kind Rewind. And my pass is Avatar. Carson, thank you so much for this. And dear listeners, you guys know the drill. If there's a topic that you want us to cover on Keep, Watch, Pass, or a movie that you want us to cover on It's Not That Bad, hit us up on social media at Not That Badcast, or go to our website at notthatbadcast.com. And be prepared, because coming soon is our predictions for movies of 2025 episode of Keep, Watch, Pass. Until next time, he's Carson. I'm Jay. You guys are awesome. This is Keep, Watch, Pass on the It's Not That Bad podcast channel, a proud member of the Pantheon Podcast Network. Take care.